Hey, Lindsay, how's it going?
Hey there, Aubrey. Sorry, I was a bit late today.
Yeah, get it together, would ya?
I will try for next time. I actually literally was a bit late today because I had a...
You actually were. That's funny. I wrote this tiny role play for us to use, would ya?
Would ya?
But you were like 1 minute late. It was
Would
not
ya?
much.
Not a huge deal, but I'll try to avoid it next time, right?
This is funny. We, in a recent role play, you said, hey, don't dawdle, would ya? And we realized like, we need to do a follow-up about would ya and will ya.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one today where we show you real English. We use would ya, will ya to really joke around, Aubrey, and to tease, right?
But they can sound pushy or rude. So context and intonation are really important.
Yes.
And these really are used more among close friends or coworkers you know really well. You know, they're very informal.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that we're saying it's, they could sound pushy or rude. That offers an explanation to me because I was always confused when I was a kid. My dad used to always say this, will ya, right? Go grab the skewer for the chicken on the grill, will ya? Or would ya? And my mom used to always berate him, like, don't say that, Vin, it's rude. And I never quite knew why it was rude, right?
You're like, it doesn't sound rude to me, it's just dad.
Exactly. Like as a kid, we observe our parents like maybe correcting each other or choosing certain language and we're not sure why, right? It's interesting.
It's so interesting. And coming up with examples for this episode, it was interesting how some of them sounded so rude to me. But then others, I'm like, okay, I could hear that among friends. But they are very informal.
So context really matters. Guys, hit the follow button if you love our style. It's all about connection here on the show. Connection, not perfection. All right? Okay.
Yes, and we are going to be talking about intonation a lot because that matters a lot too. A few of these I'm definitely going to give kind of the rude intonation and the more polite intonation because they can come, depending on the intonation you use, they often can sound rude when you don't mean to.
Yes. So we'll show you both ways to do it, right? We have options here.
Yeah.
So starting then again with will ya. So again, it's very casual. It's very direct. We use this among friends when you expect the person to agree. It's not when you're asking for a big, like, take care of my dog for 3 weeks, will ya? No.
No, exactly. Right. So for example, close the door, will ya?
Right.
Like this is polite. This is you're just asking someone to close the door.
Yeah.
But then with different intonation, you can sound irritated and rude. Like like you think they should have closed the door and they didn't. Right. Close the door, will ya?
Right. So
it's very different.
So we're saying it's really all about the intonation. We have to make sure these are with very small requests that are kind of already in the person's workflow a little bit, maybe. Right.
It's interesting because I was trying to think of who would I say this to and who wouldn't I? Even at work, I would say this. Like if I, we went in a room, oh, close the door, will ya?
Yeah.
Like that's polite.
Yeah.
But if it were like a client I'm meeting for the first time, I wouldn't. I would probably say, oh, please close the door if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's why this is not being featured on the Business English podcast.
Exactly, right? It's just very informal. Yeah. So it's not like you could only say it to the super closest friends, but depending on the intonation, right?
Yeah.
It's just quite informal.
Or just asking for help. Give me a hand with this, will ya? Right? So again, who?
But imagine if you said, give me a hand with this, will ya?
Yeah.
Like you can add irritation to your tone very easily. And if you're doing it accidentally, right? So it's sort of avoiding that sing-songy irritation, or the sing-songy tone that sounds irritated.
Yeah. So tone and who you're talking to and what you're asking them to do are kind of the three things we're looking at here. If I had 3 friends over for a barbecue and I needed help, I might ask my more longtime friend this way, but the new friend that's just coming over for the first time, I might not say that to them. Right?
Yeah, you might say, would you mind helping me with this?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you are irritated, I would avoid this.
Yeah, because your irritation going to show up. Yeah.
Like, would you please close the door instead of close the door, will you?
Right. I like it. What are some other ways that might sound pushy? Aubrey?
Yeah, so it kind of does depend on the phrasing too, right? So if you're saying something that is clearly that you're irritated, adding will ya is sort of even more rude. Yeah. So for example, knock it off, will ya? Like you're asking someone to stop doing something, and adding will ya makes it a little more abrasive.
Yeah. Or if someone's just talking, they're not listening to you, which can drive you nuts, right? You could say, just listen for a second, will ya? Right. So that you can sense that irritation in my voice, right?
Exactly. Right. The context, the words we're already seeing, because if not, you would say, can you please listen for a second?
Okay.
Right? With no irritation, adding the will ya.
Yeah.
It's like, just look, like there's no way you can say, just listen for a second, will ya?
Drives home
and
the
it
irritation.
doesn't sound irritated.
No.
Yes.
And or if you maybe walk slower than your partner or something. I think usually one partner walks faster than the other.
Always.
That's always very awkward. Yeah. You could say, hurry up, will ya? We're late, right? That's rude. That's showing lack of patience, right? Irritation.
Lack of patience. Exactly. Because if you were being patient, you'd say, could you please hurry? We're late, right? There are kinder ways to say this. Adding that will ya is rude.
As long as we know what we're saying, right? Language choices are just based on personality as long as we know exactly what we're implying, right?
Right.
Yes.
So far the pro tip is don't add will ya if you are irritated, right? If it's like a non-irritated, oh, close the door, will ya? That's fine, right? I'm not irritated. The tone's going to be fine. But don't use it if you're irritated. What about would ya?
Would ya? So this one's a little more, we can get away with this a bit more, right?
Yeah, it's more polite.
Maybe, but still tone matters. Soft or more polite. The use here is similar to will ya, but again, it is a little more respectful, a little more polite.
Yeah, just like saying, will you do this for me is a little more direct than would you do this
Indirect,
for me?
right?
In the same way, would you is a little less direct and a little more polite.
Yeah, I agree. Would is always going to be more indirect than will.
Exactly.
Totally. So you could say, pass me the salt, would you? Or
and as long as you're not irritated, right? Oh, pass me the salt, would ya?
Yeah.
Or pass me the salt, will ya?
Yeah.
Like both are fine.
Yeah.
But if you've asked 4 times already and then you're like, pass me the salt, would ya? Then it's clearly you're irritated, and it's still even would ya can sound impolite.
Yeah. Or if you're in a movie theater and you're getting shushed, you know how some people like to shush people? I hate that, by the way. I hate it. I hate when people shush people, but don't be that person that's making loud noises in the movie theater either.
Right? Don't need to be shushed.
Right. So lower your voice a bit, would ya? Right. And again, so a little more polite, but still it's casual. It's a little like, it's not like buttoned up
because
language,
there are
right?
nicer ways to say this, right? That whoever you say this to is going to assume you're really irritated, right? Lower your voice a bit, would ya? Like that would ya added.
Yeah.
It is more impatient, like you said, more irritated, because you could say, can you please lower your voice a bit?
Yeah, for sure. There's different choices of words we could make, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. What else?
Or would you mind waiting a second?
Okay.
Right? You could say, can you please wait a second? You can say, oh, would you mind waiting a second? And if you're not irritated and there's no irritation in your tone, that's fine among friends.
Yeah, no problem there. So why are we not featuring this over on our other podcast, Business English, Aubrey? Why would we not use these at work?
It's interesting. It is extremely informal, right? In a meeting, instead of saying, hand me that, would ya? Or maybe you'd say, could you hand me that, please, right? It is okay among coworkers in very casual situations, in the break room maybe, but in a meeting, even before the meeting, right? To say, would ya, will ya? It's like playground talk. It's like everyday
Street
conversation
talk.
while you're out running. It's very everyday.
It's good. This is everyday street talk, right, Aubrey? And I think that's why really why my mom used to berate my dad for saying it, because
she didn't want him using everyday street talk.
To speak a little bit more elevated, I think.
Right. Your poor
and
mom.
Then she'd be like,
"Oh,
it's where you're from." That's you should have all kinds of commentary on it.
Oh, that is funny.
So, as long as our listeners have a clear picture here of what we're talking about, what else, Aubrey?
So stick around. We're going to do a role play right after the break to show how these might look in just a casual conversation.
Nice. All right, let's get into a role play. This should be fun. So here we are, sisters. All right.
Yes. All right. I'll start us.
Yeah.
Turn the music down, would ya?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I could use headphones if you want.
I'd appreciate that. Thanks. I got to study for this test.
My headphones are there on your dresser. Toss them to me, will ya? Yeah. So sisters, totally fine. Maybe roommates, totally fine. If you've gotten to know each other well. We're not formal with our roommates, right? In life.
Totally.
No.
Absolutely. This is fine. This is polite. It's interesting. If this is the first time I'm asking you to turn down the music, I'd probably just be like, oh, turn down the music, would ya?
Yeah.
Totally polite. It's fine. But if I had already asked you 3 or 4 times and you couldn't hear me, then it might be like, turn down the music, would ya? Like the irritation is there.
You're gonna stick with that same phrase, but get a little bit more firm. Right?
Exactly, right? You hear the difference in the intonation.
I love that. And then the final end of the role play was, my headphones are there in your dresser. Toss them to me, will ya? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And maybe if you had asked a few times and I hadn't heard you, then maybe there would be that irritation in your tone, right?
Yeah, for
Toss
sure.
them to me, will ya?
Yeah.
And especially among sisters,
Oh, yeah.
you maybe would, close friends, siblings,
For sure.
you're willing to sound irritated. We're not trying to, be careful with their feelings always, not as much as we should, maybe.
No one tries to impress their sibling, right? No, for sure not. You've had a whole lifetime of being siblings.
Right.
Great one today. Really interesting how in this episode, it clearly is kind of street language, right? And
Yes.
so we have options. You guys have options for ranges of vocabulary choices, depending on who you're with, what you're asking them to do, and what your relationship is with that person. Okay.
Exactly. And we definitely want to have you check out that first episode that inspired this, where the role play said, don't dawdle, would ya? Is 2554. Scroll up for Don't Dawdle with Your English Goals.
Ooh, I like that title. Good stuff. All right, Aubrey, thanks for hanging out today. We'll see you back here very soon. All right.
Awesome. See you next time.
Have a good one. Bye.